Episode 2. One Outcome Beats 5 Priorities. These episodes discuss execution and governance principles for lawful business and institutional use. All scenarios are abstracted. On January 3rd, the world changed. But while the headlines focused on the arrest of Maduro, the real story is the execution framework that made it possible. Here is how you apply that same absolute resolve to your next market entry or current business operations. Organizations don't fail because they lack priorities. They fail because they refuse to choose. Today, I want to show you why singularity of outcome is not simplistic thinking. It's the only way complex systems produce results. A system cannot optimize for 5 primary outcomes at once. This isn't motivational advice, it's systems theory. When you tell an organization to pursue growth, margin improvement, speed, innovation, and brand trust simultaneously, the system doesn't integrate these priorities. It defaults to the safest, the loudest, or the most politically protected priority. Here's why. Resource allocation becomes negotiated. Every function claims their priority is essential. Budgets get split, talent gets distributed, attention fractures. Nothing receives sufficient investment to produce breakthrough results. Trade-offs become invisible. When speed conflicts with quality, which wins? When growth conflicts with margin, who decides? Without a governing outcome, these conflicts don't get resolved. They get avoided, delayed, or escalated until momentum dies. Accountability dissolves. If 5 outcomes matter equally, failure in any one can be excused by success in another. We missed growth targets, but we improved margins. We lost market share, but we reduced risk. Every team can claim partial success, while the organization fails. Outcome singularity is not extremism, it's governance. It's the discipline of saying, this outcome governs decisions. When conflicts arise, this one wins. A consumer goods company launches a turnaround after 3 years of declining market share. Leadership announces the strategy. We want growth, margin improvement, speed to market, innovation, and brand trust. What they really mean is, we don't want to disappoint anyone on the leadership team. Operations hears margin improvement and slows execution to protect efficiency. They delay product launches to optimize production costs. Marketing hears growth and accelerates campaigns, launching promotions that erode margins. They push for aggressive pricing to capture volume. Finance hears margin improvement and constrains spend. They reject innovation investments as too risky. R&D hears innovation and pursues breakthrough concepts that won't commercialize for years. Nothing governs trade-offs. When marketing and operations conflict, the CEO tries to balance both. When finance and R&D conflict, the decision gets tabled for more analysis. 12 months later, results are flat. Market share hasn't recovered, margins haven't improved, speed hasn't increased. Leadership concludes the strategy was sound, but execution was challenging. They reorganize, they add governance layers, they schedule more alignment meetings. The problem wasn't execution. The problem was the refusal to choose which outcome actually mattered most. Elite execution requires leaders to say, this outcome matters more than the others. When they conflict, this one wins. Here's what that looks like in practice. If the governing outcome is growth, margin pressure is acceptable in the short term. Speed to market trumps perfection. Innovation resources go to fast-cycle product extensions, not breakthrough research. Brand investments focus on reach and acquisition, not prestige. You're not ignoring margins, speed, innovation, or brand. You're subordinating them to growth when decisions force a choice. If the governing outcome is margin improvement, growth targets are secondary. Product launches are delayed if unit economics don't work. Marketing spend is constrained. Innovation focuses on cost reduction, not new features. Speed is sacrificed for efficiency. Secondary benefits may exist, new products may succeed, brand perception may improve, but these are byproducts, not drivers. They are not allowed to steer decisions. The discipline looks like this. When operations says, we can hit growth targets but margins will drop 200 basis points and the governing outcome is growth, the answer is, acceptable, proceed. When marketing says, we can build brand trust with this campaign, but it will slow sales velocity, and the governing outcome is speed, the answer is, not now. Focus on conversion. 3 questions test whether you've actually chosen. What outcome governs trade-offs? Not the outcome you hope to achieve, the outcome that wins when priorities conflict. If you can't name it, you haven't chosen. What outcome are you explicitly not pursuing this year? If you can't name what you're sacrificing, you're still trying to balance everything. Balance produces mediocrity, not results. Who enforces that boundary? If the leadership team decides case by case, you don't have a governing outcome, you have perpetual negotiation. Someone must have authority to say, that initiative doesn't serve the governing outcome, it's deferred. As we finish this episode, if everything matters, nothing governs. If nothing governs, execution fragments. If execution fragments, results disappoint. One outcome, one governor. That's the start of discipline.